So here is a quick little screencast of how to put together your contact print if you have decided to go the route where you want it to look like traditional film negatives. So the first thing that I did was I went to Google and I did an image search with Creative Commons licensed for reuse images, and I searched for film negatives and I found a couple that I thought were interesting. I've got this one and I've got this one. And also, I apologize that my Photoshop on this computer has very tiny icons. Everything is really zoomed out, so it might be kind of challenging to see what I'm clicking on. Okay, so what you can do with something like this is you're going to want to start by removing anything that's inside the negative. So if there were pictures in here, you'd want to take them out so that they're not in your way for your image. What I would do is use the lasso and specifically the polygonal lasso. Or the rectangular marquee tool would also work, but the polygonal lasso makes straight lines. Oops. And if there was a picture in here that I needed to get rid of, I could just click a few different times to make a blinking selection, and then just press delete on the keyboard to delete it and repeat that for each of the squares here. Marquee tool would be similar, except I would want to choose the rectangular marquee and again draw a box around what I want to get rid of and then press delete. Now this is a PNG image, which is why it's checkered right now. And so if you're working with a JPEG image, you would have to unlock your layer by double clicking it before you go and erase this stuff. Otherwise it won't let you. The next thing I would want to do is start putting pictures in. And I figured I would probably want a whole context sheet like this. Maybe. There we go. So I just made a new document. I just went to File, New, and I made it like a sheet of paper, and I just pasted in a bunch of the negative strips so I can fill them in all on one page. So that's one way to do it, or you can put them together on individual strips and then paste the strips in here. So each of these right here, I did file place, so there are all the layers. So the next thing I'm going to do is do another file place and place in a few images just as a sample. You could also copy paste or drag and drop. So there's an image and you're seeing through some of the negatives because of where Photoshop put it in my layers stack. So it's actually showing up below some of the negative strips, not a big deal. So I'm going to pull it up here and I'm going to put it in this very first spot, holding Shift and grabbing from a corner. I'm going to shrink it down to fit. If it doesn't fit perfectly, I might have to crop a little bit. And I am experiencing some serious lag on my computer. Okay, I'm going to hit enter to finish that. Obviously, it's not the right proportions for this negative space, so we'll have to look at some options to fix that. And I would just continue doing that, placing all my images in order that I want them. And I would probably also, if you notice, since I copied the same negatives a bunch of times, I have image 13, 14, 15, 16, and then I have that again and again and again. If you're paying attention to detail, really this should be image 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So you might want to go in and change those numbers if that bothers you because it looks kind of fake. So to fix the fact that this picture doesn't fit, what I would probably do is use my move tool, hold shift, stretch it bigger. And then now I see that some of it's going to need to be cut off. So I'm going to finish that stretch, use my marquee tool, select the portion that is hanging off the edge here, and then just press delete. And it's not going to let me delete it because I used file place to put it in here. So I'm going to have to right click on that layer and rasterize it. So anytime you use file place, you'll notice your images look a little different in the layer stack. So just right click and rasterize will make them a regular image. Now I should be able to. And I went over the edges of the film negative, but it shouldn't matter because they're not on this layer. All right. So I would repeat putting my images in order. Probably a good idea to edit them before you put them in here. However, once I have all my images in here, I could do some edits to make them all match as well. So let's do one more. File place. I'm going to shrink it down. Use the move tool. Place it up here. Still a little too big. Now these images are random. Your whole idea with this project is to have images that are sequential or create movement or some kind of rhythm. Oops, not going to let me do that till I rasterize this. Rasterize layer, and now I'll get rid of the extra. So that is one way to do the contact sheet project if you want them to look like traditional film negatives.